Week 1 proper, boys. There's real football on tonight. Bandy's staying up for it. I'm getting up early for it. Baz, what are you going to do?
I'm going to get up early for it. I think if I stay up to watch it tonight, it'll kill me tomorrow. So I'm going to record it and watch it first thing in the morning.
So we've got a big night tomorrow night. It's our redraft night, the biggest night of the year, where we all get pissed, make stupid decisions like buying racehorses, and then look at our team on Saturday morning and think, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, we had a little bit of a recap, didn't we, of some of the poor decisions. And I can remember waking up one morning and thinking, oh, bloody hell, I've drafted Daniel Jones, or I've drafted 2 tight ends in the 5th and 6th round. It just goes a little bit out of kilt, doesn't it, when we all get together and have a few bevies.
It does as well. And this is the first year ever. Obviously, the game's on tonight, and we're drafting tomorrow night after the first game. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, adds a little bit of jeopardy to it, doesn't it? I don't think it changes things too much. Even if someone gets 30 points, you're not gonna think that's gonna do me over 17 weeks if they're a terrible player. You're not gonna pick them too early.
I think it depends. I was thinking about this earlier on. I was thinking, if Derrick Henry has an absolute stormer tonight, and I don't know what you say, says scores 30 points after we've had a few sherbets tomorrow and the draft's on, I wonder how far you could sneak up that draft board.
Yeah, Baz and Taz will be climbing over each other in the first round to draft him as early as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Derrick Henry fan, but I wouldn't. Has he ever been a first rounder? I think even the last couple of years he's been a second, third round turn sort of player.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would go too high.
I don't think you're getting it. I don't think, even if he had an absolute stormer tonight, and obviously we're drafting tomorrow, I don't think even if he had a stormer tonight, I don't think he'd get near the first round. But I think he'd start creeping up to that early on the turn, maybe with a few drinks in us. Derrick Henry gifts, knowing that you're going to have them. Whoa, it'd be tempting.
If Taz gets a pick, 11, 12 pick, absolute fucking nailed on him. Derrick Henry.
I don't think he's going 201 or 202. I don't think he's going. I think middle of seconds the earliest he'll go.
Yeah, and it could work either way. He could have a
shocker,
game
push him down.
Yeah, push him down. Same for the others, I guess. But we'll get onto the Thursday night football a bit later. So we're going to run through the news around the league. Then we're going to have a look at last week's draft of the FFOP draft. Quick evaluation on who he thinks picked up some good players, who's had a nightmare. Then we've got decisions to make in our own team. So we've got wide receivers to drop. We've got defenses to pick up. Possible kicker to pick up over the weekend. Then we'll get onto some DFS, which is going to be a new segment of the show. Bear in mind, we're in our third season now. 101st episode.
We're always adding new bits out. We're always improving.
Always a low bar.
Well, we're always adding new bits.
LOTY. You might be asleep. Might get you asleep in the hospital. This. Well, thank you for joining, mate. I wish you all the best. Get well soon, mate.
Hope you recover soon, buddy.
We're going to be nice to you. We think your team's all right.
Is that true, or would you be nice because he's in hospital? Wait till next week to slate him.
Yeah. So we're going to touch on the DFS stuff. So we're going to, in terms of DFS stuff, it's new for me, the DFS. I've been doing a bit of best ball pre-season. I had a couple of goals at the DFS last year. Didn't really know what I was doing, just picking players willy-nilly. So we have a little bit of a deep dive. We have a little bit of a deep dive into what we should be looking for, how we should select our teams, and when to select our teams. I think might be an important one from what I've picked up on.
And then we'll to interrupt you there. You say you've done a little bit of best ball drafting. So about 4 weeks ago, you did one on the show. Was it with Blandy, or just we were just chatting about it? And since then, you think you did 20 in the first week. What number are we up to since then?
I've totaled out at 74. That's it. 74.
74.
Get it.
74.
Where do you know what? Right? Where do you find the time?
Yeah, well, I had a week off, didn't I? So I was doing a bit of that. Kate wasn't happy at all.
Fair play.
And all this week, I said, right, I'm not going to do any. And obviously, you have done some on the night, haven't you? So I've joined in on them. But at like half an hour for my lunch today, I was thinking, do I just do one? And I was like, nah. So this week, I've been dying to do them, but I just haven't done them. I did my so if you did the $20 one, I did it a couple of weeks ago. You got a free ticket to do another one. So I did that a couple of days ago, and that was it.
A couple of years' time, you'll be doing a podcast on DFS rehab. People have become addicted, lost the shirt off the back, and need to go. I just have my lunch. I just need to do a quick one. No, take a deep.
I might start doing best ball retreats. Best ball retreats, like pre-season. You just go to retreat instead, like meditate and that. No internet connection, so you can't do any best ball drafts.
There's one in America with the guys that play an Underdog. They have the Underdog Cardio Club. So they go on the treadmill on a morning, and when they're on the treadmill, drafting teams on the treadmill, so they're getting some exercise in. The Underdog Cardio Club.
Fucking hell, man. Some of the money I've seen, like, absolutely insane, isn't it?
You're looking at upwards of $40 million in prize money across all these fantasy football contests. So it's a proper serious business, like ridiculous amounts of money. And like with Underdog, who are the main drivers behind it, especially in the States, they've signed Bill Belichick up. They've got Bill Belichick on a show, a series every week during the season, doing his coaching breakdowns and stuff. Like, he's not doing that for free. The money that they must be making off these contests just in rake for getting people playing is like serious money, because they've got Jay Gruden and Colt McCoy work for them as well. They've got their own show. Obviously starting quarterback and a former head coach in the NFL, and now on a fantasy football platform doing.
Is Underdog available in the UK? Is Underdog available in the UK, Blandy?
No. No. They have no interest in coming to the UK either.
Is that in terms of legislation and stuff like that, and rules and whatever else, or gambling rules? And
stuff like that? I wouldn't say so, because it'd be just.
I mean, DraftKings do it, don't they?
Yeah. DraftKings have got a license for it, but no, I don't think Underdog have any interest in expanding outside the American market. At least that's what the head of the company said in the last couple of years. So
I can only
things might change.
I can only see it getting bigger and bigger. It's so addictive. Like,
yeah,
it's just so addictive. Once your players are getting injured, or they're doing obviously playing preseason games, having a good game, it's changing stuff. The players are almost like stocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's essentially what they are. Yeah, that's essentially in these big tournaments. ADP is the market, and the players go up and down within that market. And as with all things that are relative to that, you want to buy low and sell high.
Yeah, get an edge, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think
I've enjoyed it. Let's see if I win any money, Baz.
Yeah, well, 74 darts, you might get a couple of dollars back.
I hope so, mate. And then last of all, we're going to touch on the Thursday night football, obviously, which is happening tonight. News around the league. So the story that's been rumbling on for weeks, and it's been impacting the best ball, certainly the first round, is Ja'Marr Chase. So when I first started my best ball addiction, all them 2.5 weeks ago, Ja'Marr Chase was going like 4. Yeah, but around the 4 mark, really.
4th overall,
Yeah, and he's just drifted, and obviously he's holding out, and it's still not signed, is it? But there seems to be a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. He trained yesterday. I'm not sure if he's trained today.
Yeah, trained again today. Yeah. So it looks like they're edging towards a new deal for him. It's a difficult one because he's eligible for a new deal, but he still actually has 2 years left on his current deal. So it's not like he's going into his final year or anything. So, so see if the Bengals get something done. The tightest franchise in the league, so.
But I guess he's seen a lot of other star wide receivers getting paid and getting some, mega deals. Whoever gets the next deals always tends to get the biggest deal. So I'm sure he's sat there angling for his money.
There is that, but then he's probably going to be in that position next year.
Anyway, yeah.
Then other receivers will have reset the market again next year, so he can then go back in and ask for.
Yeah. And it only goes. It only goes up, doesn't it? It doesn't go down.
Yeah. He's obviously wanted his money earlier, which fair. If he can get it out, fair play to him.
As always, I'll interrupt when we got a question. But before I get to the question, first of all, just appreciate Taz's new profile picture for this year. It looks absolutely fantastic. Lovely that, Neil.
Is that on his genuine account? Or
that's his genuine. That's not one of his alt. That's not one of his alt accounts.
Alter ego.
Question from TY: how will Ekeler do this year?
Obviously, with that one, Barry? I've got an opinion on it.
Obviously, with the Commanders now.
I think he obviously went from, was it 2 seasons ago? He was one of the highest touchdown, one of the best fantasy point scorers. Had a bit of a poor season last year, but I'm not sure that was all on him. But the commentary is generally about age, decline, wear and tear. I still think there's a player in there. Again, a team like Washington with a rookie QB, is he going to get a little bit or is he going to get plenty of pass dump off work and still incurs good fantasy points? So I think he's still somebody to keep an eye on. Obviously, he's not where he once was when he was our first, second round pick, but I'd still be tempted to take a punt on him based on history. And I know you're going to say the opposite, that he's washed.
Yeah. I don't think he's as washed as he was when he came back from his high ankle sprain last year. Obviously, he's had time to get himself fit, but yeah, like you said, he's not going to be the overall number one running back in fantasy scoring. He's going to be the 1B in a committee with Brian Robinson, with a mobile quarterback who has one read and then scrambles. So it's unlikely to get too many checkdowns. I think he's going to be a low floor, low ceiling player in managed leagues. Maybe not know when to start him from week to week. I don't hold out a great deal of optimism for him, to be quite honest.
And where's his ADP at the moment? I'm guessing he's sort of pretty far down there.
Yeah, about ninth, around about 9th, 10th round.
Just before we go on to touch on Brian Robinson, is one of your cables hitting one of your mics? I can just hear you like a mic getting like.
Sorry, that might be me fucking about with stuff. Is it better now?
Yeah. Just seems like there's something touching it. Well, I drafted Brian Robinson. I've drafted him a lot, really. And I got a bit of grief from Mr. Steve Wake the other night for drafting him, because Ekeler obviously has got, when you've been playing fantasy for years, Eckler's obviously got that name, hasn't he? Which probably Brian Robinson hasn't. But
nope.
I think this could be a good breakout season for Brian Robinson. I hope.
He put some good numbers up last year, though. Did he pick up last year's numbers, fantasy points wise, for him? I think he had some. I can't see that on my screen.
Some good weeks, yeah. So
he had some very usable weeks, that's for sure. Yeah. Between the two of them, I definitely think that Robinson will be the goal line back. And as much as they have a mobile quarterback in Jaden Daniels, he's very slight, and I don't think he's certainly not going to be used the way the Eagles use Jalen Hurts. he's very much built like Lamar Jackson. I think he's a bit slighter than Lamar Jackson as well, and Jackson isn't used around the goal line at all. He just turned around and hands it off to Gus Edwards last year, Derrick Henry this year. So if they're a good offense with Jaden Daniels there, and I think there's an opportunity for Brian Robinson, who I do think will be the goal line back to rack up 8-10 rushing touchdowns this year.
I like him. Question from Taza. Thoughts on Zeke being announced RB1?
Is he a time machine?
It makes sense. No, like it's they listed him RB1 on the depth chart. That's what it was. They didn't say it was
Doesn't
RB1.
mean a lot,
They just listed him as a no. And I think it was just giving him the nod to seniority, his history with the Cowboys. But yeah, I think the proof will be in the pudding, so to speak.
Jerry will tend to do that as well, won't he?
Most likely, yeah.
I still think this boy's going to be the real number one.
I would say he'd be the one in a committee. Yeah, no one's going to be a workhorse.
It could be a bit of the Tony Pollard Zeke sort of from a couple of years ago, where they were splitting it, and Zeke was getting his 2 yards and absolutely slogging for it, and Pollard was getting 10 touches, but finding plenty of gaps and showing a bit of afterburners. It might be a similar type situation here, do you think?
But where Elliott's lost a step since those 2 yards, so maybe he's down to 1 yard now, and Dowdle's not as explosive as what Pollard was. So
no,
but yes, I think
a watered version.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
You can't probably think Dowdle's going to get more than 10 or 12 touches a game, is he?
I wouldn't have thought so. No.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And I'd still say Zeke's probably live for the goal line role as well.
Bigger body, fall forward. That's what they always say, isn't it? It always falls forward.
He's washed. He's completely washed. But he can, if you said, right, you need to read that block and get 1 yard, he'll get you. He's very good at reading the blocks, going where he's supposed to go. He can't do anything. He can't do anything after contact. But if you're at the 1 yard line, let's say like you say, read the block and fall forward, and it's a touchdown. So he can still do that to a high level.
I've got plenty of him in that spot.
As long as he gets that Salvation Army bucket on Thanksgiving, he'll have done his job.
The problem is, Barry, it's a big bucket. If he gets in, he might not get out. They might have to set up a crane and a winch.
I haven't seen him the last couple of weeks. How's he been this pre-season? Normally comes in a bit heavy, doesn't he?
I don't think the beat reporters recognised him from when he was there 2 years. Years ago.
There'll be plenty of X's on his shirt, his short size. I know that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any injuries from the league we should be aware of?
So McCaffrey was limited today. Now, obviously, he's had this calf injury that cropped up a few weeks back, and it was fine. And they said they would just hold him out. But he's come up as limited today, but not only with a calf, with an Achilles as well. It's listed as calf stroke Achilles, which, you can see it there. That's the first time I think we've heard of Achilles.
Yeah.
We've never, it's always been listed as a calf. That's a little concerning to me. The fact that they're listening.
I hope I don't get fucking pick one tomorrow.
Well, I mean, if you do, it's an easy pick, isn't it?
I got burnt with him.
Well, I don't mean you pick him. You pick CD or Tyreek, wouldn't you?
I know, but But at this moment in time, so when we pick tomorrow, all you'll know is like calf Achilles. That's all you'll know. You won't know much more than this.
No.
I suppose the good thing is now, though, Blandy, we're getting proper injury reports because we're at week 1, and whether they're genuine or whether there's still a bit of whatever in them, you're actually getting an injury report rather than just training camp visitors. So there's a bit more meat on the bone, isn't there?
Yeah. Or not in some cases because it fell off the board.
I'll tell you this now. I'll tell you this for now. If I got pick 1 tomorrow and I took CMC, right, fucking Sunday morning, he'd be fucking getting ruled out and then getting put on IR.
He'd be in a wheelchair, getting wheeled into Levi's.
And then if Tazza picked him up, he'd be there first game, not wrong with him. That's the difference in this game. So I just hope we don't get number 1.
I was going to say that's translated to me as I don't want the first pick. I don't want to make a decision.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I'll have a word with the algorithm.
What would you do, Baz, at pick 1?
I haven't really looked too much into injury. I'd probably pick CMC blind. If I was concerned about injury, I'd pick Tyreek.
But Landy, what would you do?
CD.
CD Lamb.
CD.
I think I'll go CD over Tyreek.
T. Higgins was limited with a hamstring. I don't know whether that's anything that happened. It's the first time that's popped up. Russell Wilson had a hamstring. So I don't know. I mean, nobody's drafting Russell Wilson, are they, Barry? Not even you.
We were in a league and I tried to get Russell Wilson about the 18th round and somebody nabbed him before me and I ended up very short at QB. So, I mean, you wouldn't be hanging your hat on Russell Wilson. I'm still sticking up for him a lot and saying that I think he's been scapegoated a bit by various people and teams and he's an easy one to knock. But I think there's still a QB in there. Just he's very, he's 35. He's 35 now. He's on the decline, isn't he?
Yeah, he's shite.
Where
the two high shells defenses have killed him, haven't they? Teams are forcing you to throw over the middle of the field. He's about the same size as me. Can't see over his O-line, and has never been able to throw it to the middle of the field. So, yeah, he wants to run around, play hero ball, and throw it deep, but he can't throw it deep because they play 2 high safeties.
He took the Broncos to in the hunt of the playoffs last year with a dreadful roster. So to scapegoat him to say he was the fault of Denver, I don't think it's the real answer.
Well,
there.
Sean Payton certainly did. He's paying $37.5 million for him not to be there.
Mr. Bland, stop with that mic.
Yes, boss.
Thank you.
But nobody wants to play Russell Wilson. Yeah. Nobody wants to play Russell Wilson, but what it does do, if you're looking for the quarterback to stream and pick up, and if Justin Fields is going to start, then he's going to project as a top 12 quarterback every single week, isn't he?
Whilst we're on
Steelers,
the
Steelers in the background, yeah. Go on.
So these two,
I think we're on the same lines.
These two boys, I think. Certainly my best ball. These boys go pretty much next to each other. Later on, I think it's like, Warren, when he was this injury concern, he was going maybe 9th round, top of my head.
10th round. He could get him at some points.
Yeah.
And
Najee maybe just a bit before that because he didn't have any injury concerns. But
yeah,
I'm fucking fully loaded on these two. So if these two don't have a decent season, I'm screwed.
Well, your best mate is our offensive coordinator now, isn't he? So he'll look after you.
But you told me and Barry a good few podcasts ago that he likes to run, and Wilson's shit.
And that was
yes,
that was the point I was going to make. I think you've got a very good chance of the Steelers playing real run heavy football and just absolutely smashing into the lines for quarter after quarter after quarter, and making a real dogfight. And I think these two, having two sort of good backs that they can share the load, you can run 30 times a game and give them 15 each.
Yeah. I don't doubt that at all.
And that's good news as well.
And they've got some
Warren
massive tight ends as well. Come
on, Warren, lad.
Yeah, it's just coming through now. I saw that.
I don't mind picking up either of these two late on in drafts and thinking I'll have them. I think they're going to get plenty of opportunity.
Yeah. Go on, lovely, nice and cheap because they're just unfashionable, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, Naji's shite, and Warren's good, but they're going to split the load. But when you only have to pay a 9th round price, and you don't mind your running back being shite in the 9th round when he's going to get about 250 touches.
Yeah.
He'll lap them up all day long.
I do recall, Blandy, you changed your tune. Did Najee have a bit of a spell towards the end, maybe the second third of last season, where he put up some decent numbers? And you did soften your stance on Najee the slug a little bit.
Yeah. He went from being really shite just to shite. But no, to be fair to him, he did play. He had his best year last year. Fantasy scoring wise, it probably wasn't, although he did have some good performances. But just as a NFL running back, it was probably his best year. His first year was just masked by Ben Roethlisberger dumping the ball down. I think he got 90 odd targets in his first year. So that kind of masked his inefficiencies as a player. But no, last year as a player, as a runner, it was his best year in the league.
Warren wasn't really anything to shout about last season, though, was it? Or was that down to?
It was where you were picking him up.
Right.
It was the touches, wasn't it? We were hoping that he was going to start getting going from 40-60 to 50-50 to 60-40 and maybe get to 70-30 in a split, and he could never shrug off, or he never earned enough of a share.
No, they were still holding on to that first round draft capital with Najee, weren't
they? Anything else about the league? We'll move on to ours.
Not really. It's just stuff coming through now. But no, I think we've pretty much. The Chiefs extended the tight end 3-year contract for the Chiefs tight end. Not Kelsey. Noah Gray. 19.5 million. There you go.
Wowzers.
Not bad.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the injury. What about?
Must be a good blocker, is
he?
Quick
one for your team, Blandy.
Yeah.
What about a quick one on Puka Nacua, Blandy? Again, there was a little bit of concern on his. What was it? Something in his knee? Some.
It burst a sack. Burst a sack in his knee, but yeah, so it just fluid on the knee basically. But take some antibiotics. It sorts itself out pretty quickly. That's what they said. That's what's happened.
I was going to say that concern's sort of gone now, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah, if they were honest, and that's all it was, then yeah, there's no real reason to be concerned.
I think the conversation we had about him is obviously, a great player, great breakout season or debut season last year. Can he do any more than he did last year this year, or is that his peak? That was the concern if you're going to draft him.
Yeah, there's a very good chance. There's a very good chance that his rookie season ends up being, top 2, top 3 seasons that he has in his whole career. Yeah,
But ultimately, on the flip side, there's nothing to say he can't roll it back pretty close to that, is there? Not the environment's changed around him, has it?
No, and he's actually due a bit of touchdown regression as well to the positive side. I think he only scored 6 touchdowns last year. I think it was. If we go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He only scored 6 touchdowns last year. So he's actually, he's due a bit of positive regression in the touchdown column as well. So
Cup should be a bit fit this year as well, shouldn't he?
Yeah, bit fit, a bit older, but yes.
Yeah. Gives a defense something else to worry about.
He was an older
starter. Was he an older starter, Cup, or was he just older to come to prominence, or a bit of both?
No. He was already about 24 when he came into the league.
Okay.
So he was an older prospect. Yeah.
Whilst we're talking about the Rams, what the hell's going on with these two about kicking and returning? So Kyren Williams is the punt returner.
Punt returner.
And Blake Corum is now the kick returner.
Kick returner, yes.
I don't think so. He's a rookie, obviously, so it probably makes sense that he's the kick returner. But it's gonna be like a committee, isn't it? Rather than everyone thought that Kyren Williams was going to be same as last season.
No, I don't think anyone thought it was going to be same as last season. If he was going to be the same as last season, then he'd be going about 5th overall.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's well and truly baked in to his price that he's not going to get as many touches as he did last year. So I think where he goes is pretty fair.
Yeah, where he goes normally, but sometimes he goes. I've seen him go pretty high.
I've seen him go at the end of the first round, which is you don't want to be taking him there, but that second round gets pretty flat.
I'm up on some lads tomorrow taking him a bit early.
Yeah, I was in a 14-team redraft league last night. So I had the 11th pick. I took Puka. I wanted somebody else, but he went a couple of picks before. So I was like, okay, I'll take Puka. Then came back round and Kyren was there. I was like, okay, then I'll take Kyren. So what's that for? So what about 17, pick 18, I think it is, something like that, which is what middle of the second round, which I think is about right for where he should be going.
You like Kyren, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I'm not convinced he'll have. Say he's going to have some drop off. I'm not sure how much of a drop off from touches last year because he notoriously doesn't like to change his team. McVay, does he? And he doesn't like to allow the opposition to sub out, so he does like to keep his players on and just keep rolling. And it's a rookie,
but that'll just mean that
some time to get up to speed. So I think you'll probably see early on Williams getting a real lion's share, and it maybe might take some time to even out. But I think the real concern is always if someone's going to get that much touches and do kick returns, what's the wear and tear on the body, and can he keep that going for 17 weeks?
I think the punt returns a bit overblown as well. Like the Rams only had 25 punt returns in the whole of last year. So literally, can you wave your hand in the air like that and catch the ball?
Yeah, it's not a big thing. It's just another bit of physical exertion, though, isn't it? Potentially, you can get some. If you do try and run it, you can get some decent hits on a kick return.
Yeah, you can. But he also returned. He was punt returner last year as well. So
okay.
Ian,
so it's probably over.
I know, but you don't normally see running backs as like.
No, the Rams have used Cooper Kupp as punt returner. The 49ers have used Debo as punt returner.
Debo's done it. I was going to say Debo's a classic one. If they're behind the game and they're chasing the clock a little bit, that some teams do put their elite players in there, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, this Blake Corum is going to get a bit more. He's going to get whacked more, isn't he? Doing the returns because it's just the
potentially.
There's more chance of him getting whacked.
Yes,
because he's going to have to. He's going to have to catch him and run, isn't he?
They have to return it if it lands with a new kicking rule. If it lands in the landing zone, you have to catch it and return it.
Yeah, because if they let it bounce, then it gets started at the 20.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So he's going to have to catch and run unless it goes through the back. But I don't know much about him. But surely they must have seen something they like.
Yeah, well, he played for Michigan in college. He was really, really good his first 2 years, and then at the end of his second year,
watch that.
At the end of his second year, his third year, I can't remember which. He got a a bad knee injury, tore his meniscus in his knee, and then his final year is like his peripherals, underlying metrics and stuff. They really dropped off. They weren't very good at all. But he still, like in the national championship game, I think he scored 3 touchdowns when the Michigan absolutely demolished the Huskies in the national championship. So yeah, he was always seen as a good prospect. It was just that final year, it was pretty poor from an underlying metric concern. It's just whether you give him the excuse of coming off the meniscus injury, and now he's going to be 1 year removed from that meniscus injury. Is he going to get that explosiveness back? Don't know.
Question
but Kyron's not Kyron's not explosive at all. Like Kyron's, Kyron's a really bad athlete.
They're both similar size, aren't they? Pretty much dead on. 15 stone.
The drafted Corin because he's a clone of Kyron. That's what they drafted him for. So they can just plug him straight in.
Right. Makes sense. Question from TY. Which tight end will be the highest scorer this year? Now, I was talking to Hammer yesterday privately.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually said it in the group. He said that he's going to take one of the early tight ends. I think he said he's not going to leave the 4th round without a tight end. So he wants like the Andrews, the Laporta, obviously Kelsey, McBride,
Pitts.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a good question. He's not interested. There's quite a close knit tier 1, isn't there, on tight ends, Blandy? And I think it is a little bit of pick your poison, isn't it? Who do you like?
Yes.
I don't think there's a lot. Sometimes they go on a run, don't they?
Yeah, they can do. If people start seeing them come off the board, they get panicked.
Yeah, my argument with Tahama was, like, you've got that first batch, and I wouldn't include Pitts in it because he's maybe got a hamstring injury or whatever else.
He's practiced in full.
Oh, is he? Taz is saying Hammer is a clown. But like in that second batch, you've got Ferguson, you've got Ingram. I'd say Pitts in that second batch probably as well, and then you've got Kincaid. This year seems like this year seems to be quite a lot of like viable tight ends that I thought personally, but Hammer didn't agree.
So I think why we go through is then we'll all pick our one. We'll all pick our one at some point. You go your point. We'll all come back and say who's our one tight end.
No, go on. I'll start. My number 1 tight end is Trey McBride. That's who I think will finish as the number 1 tight end. The pace he was on at the back end of last season when he became the starter, he was an absolute tear. He was a highest scoring tight end in fantasy points per game basis since from when Zach Ertz was released, which was I believe around about week 8 when he became the starter. So for me, he can pick up from there. He was a good prospect, incorrectly used by Cliff Kingsbury. His first season as a rookie.
I was going to say the Kingsbury factor is worth noting, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the new coaching staff, they released Zach Ertz halfway through last season, and from that point on, when McBride started, he was on an absolute tear. So if he continues that with Kyler being healthy or healthier, another year removed from the ACL injury, they've got Marvin Harrison now, which it'd be a good thing, bad thing. Obviously, is by far the best wide receiver that the Cardinals have had on the roster in the last 2 years when McBride's been there. But that also then opens up the middle of the field a bit more to McBride. So for me, it's McBride as tight end 1. That's who I think will finish as tight end 1 at the end of the year.
Do you want me to go next, Baz, or
Mark? Sorry, I'll just start. Sorry, Anth, I'll just jump in there. Like I mentioned with Puka, I think if we look down last year with McBride, he only scored 2 touchdowns all season. So he's due some
2, 3.
Three touchdowns all season. Last game. Yeah. So like he was putting up better numbers per week than Laporta, but Laporta was scoring touchdowns. McBride wasn't. If that flips, it's very easy. It's very easy to see McBride passing Laporta.
For me, Mark Andrews, absolute beast. The first 6 games last year for the injury, absolute monster. They've only got Flowers, really. So he's going to be number 2 receiver. Isaiah Likely probably the 3rd receiver as well.
Quite possibly.
So Mark Andrews for me. Just hope he stays fit. Just an absolute PPR monster, isn't he?
Yeah, that's mad. He's got that rapport with Lamar, hasn't he? That he's the first person at Lamar, or he seems to be an early look for him if he's getting off his reads, and they just sort of connect really well. Good partnership there. So there's a lot of history that tells you that he can get. I think has he been tight end 1 probably before, or close to 1 in his career.
Yes,
so I think he nearly made 1 last year, and he was out for the.
So yeah.
Yeah, he did finish. He did finish 1 year as a tight end 1 overall. Yeah. Ironically, it was the year that Lamar got injured.
Yeah, look at that. Finished 1 spot away from tight end 1 territory in half PPR fantasy leagues.
Yeah, and he missed half the season.
So I think both the guys who put forward, McBride and Andrews. I had McBride last year, picked him up on the waivers. I've had Andrews in the past. I'm going to really like him. I like that volume and that look. I think I'm going to take a little punt on Dalton Kincaid. I think he's got every chance to be the wide receiver 1 on the Bills. Again, they've got lots of similar type players. They've lost their alpha and Diggs. I think Kincaid could get a lot of volume, and I think again he flashed enough in his rookie season to say that he's got the skills, get the capability. If none of the other receivers manage to establish themselves, I think he'll play the most snaps of anyone. It's just, is there going to be a little bit too much traffic in that middle of the field? Have they got enough threat to spread it out and give him some space? Would be my slight concern. But I think the Bills are being forced to probably just go slowly down the field. I think that'll just suit volume into Kincaid.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think he's a good choice as well. To answer TY's question, what about Kittle? Kittle has the highest ceiling of any of these tight ends. He can quite easily put up 30 points any given week. The problem with Kittle is just his consistency week to week. So long as you're all right, eating the 2s and the 3s and the 4 points that come, he'll reward you with a couple of 20 to 30 point games throughout the season.
Is that just based on like a game script? So when he's having to block more, or
just how like Kyle Shanahan, he game plans around his opponent's weaknesses more than his team's strengths because they're pretty strong. They're pretty strong in every facet. So if he identifies a big weakness in a defense on a particular week, he'll game plan around that weakness basically, and that'll be their primary form of attack for that week. So with a wide receivers, if they're playing a team that's poor against man or plays a lot of man, then it'll be an Ayuk week rather than a Debo week. If they're playing a team that runs a lot of zone, then it'll be more likely a Debo week than it will be an Ayuk week. So yeah, if they come across a team like the Rams and the Seahawks that can't defend tight ends, then it'll be a George Kittle week.
Yeah. Question from Jonathan Santiago. Jonathan, if you're not subscribed, please like, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate it. So Rashee Rice or Brandon Ayuk, PPR.
That's a tricky question, I think. I think that's a little bit of a tricky one. I don't know what their ADPs are, but I think it's again back to your preference. I think you're looking at Ayuk with what we said similar to Kittle. You know, a great player. He has those, you know, a good depth of target. He gets, you know, plenty of down the field catches. It's just the variation week to week, and some weeks it's Debo's day, some weeks it's Ayuk's day, and you've just got to ride with that. I think Rice is the
Jets
one
as well.
Yeah, good defense. So week one, maybe we've got to take the matchup into account. Rashee Rice, we're saying the off the field stuff isn't going to impact him this year, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Even though it's probably some of the reason why he's been such a few rounds later than he should have been. So I think Rice has got the potential. I think Ayuk's got a bit more proven. It's just the volatility with Ayuk probably concerns me, given you're probably going to have to take him quite early. You can maybe get Rice in the late third round, as he normally go.
Which one would you play though, Baz?
Would I play this week? I'm going to say Rice this week.
Yeah, Rice for me.
Would you play Rice? Do anything about Ayuk?
I play Rice every week until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I get it. The only thing about Ayuk, he's obviously getting paid as the main man now, isn't he?
He's getting paid. I don't know who's getting paid as a main man, but he's getting paid.
Well, he had some bloody fair offers for him.
Debo's still on a good whack as well, isn't he?
But yeah. So while we're on about Ayuk, so is there a chance this season that Debo gets not phased out as such, but to start reduce things? So obviously he's going to be off next season, isn't he?
Yeah. But the reason they had to sign Ayuk, the reason they had to sign Trent Williams, was because this is the last year of Purdy's rookie deal. He's due for a new deal next year. So they're going to massively overpay him next year. So this is the last year that they've got for a Super Bowl run. Basically, they know that, so that's why they've had to adjust Trent Williams' contract. Why they had to bring back Ayuk. Why they won't phase out Debo, despite him almost certainly being traded or released at the end of the season.
If we're talking about playing as well, who we're going to play rather than who we're going to draft, I think I'd play Rice just because it's Thursday night. You've been waiting all pre-season and that.
You mean you're going to shoot your load early? You can't. You want
a bit of interest, don't you? Waking up like that.
But no, I would play Rice this week, especially no Hollywood Brown there as well. So it's going to be Jason Watson who's going to be on the field in the Hollywood Brown role, and Jason Watson can't command targets, so that's more targets to distribute between Rice, Worthy, and Kelsey.
Yeah. Question from Slot Machine. What are we thinking about pick 11 and 12? So what's that? Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua,
Marvin Harrison, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, if you want to drag him up, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I think we chatted. I can't remember, it was probably not on the show, but last couple of weeks I'd had a few runs where I had 11, 12, 11 as my draft picks, and I'd been going for a bit of Gibbs, Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison. They were sort of the three that were generally on the board when I got there, and I could get that bit of balance between a wide receiver and a running back. I think I wasn't too interested in Taylor or Barkley at that price, so I was hoping someone like an AJ Brown might fall that deep, but it's very rare to do.
Yeah, the thing is now with Jefferson and it might change now. Chase is practicing and that they was kind of getting pushed down a little bit. I thought I was finding,
but they were neither of them were ever going as late as pick 11 or 12, really, were they?
Yeah. Slot Machine makes a good point there. Wilson's probably around 10, yeah. Sometimes it just depends on what head cases you've got. Sometimes you get a head case who picks some daft, like Kelsey in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen plenty of drafts where Saquon's gone in the first round, pick 8, pick 9. So
There's something that's drawing people, and I put myself included, that draws someone into Saquon Barkley, great runner, running behind the Philadelphia Eagles O-line. It just feels like that could be very good.
Yeah. It could be. It could be too obvious, couldn't it? Then end up fucking kicking myself not having him.
Yeah.
I don't have any of Barkley in my best ball. None.
Not percent.
No, he was just going too early. Like,
yeah.
So never got him. But I can't imagine him in the redraft tomorrow. I can't imagine him falling very.
No, he'll go all from what you've been used to seeing in your best ball leagues, and a lot of these
established players
pulled up. They're going to get
established players with a reputation. Just push a little bit in home leagues, don't they?
Yeah,
even lesser ones like Pacheco and Pacheco. People are taking Pacheco in the second round.
Question from Thomas Gage. Thomas, if you're not subscribed, please like, share, subscribe. Much appreciate. Took Dak in the 6th round, too high or just right? Firstly, what's done is done. Don't beat yourself up about it.
Says the man who knows.
You've made your bed. You've made your bed. You've made your bed. You're gonna have to lie in it now. But it all depends on CD Lamb, doesn't it, lads?
It does. What I would say, sixth round to me would be far too early, but then it depends on how hungry your league is for quarterbacks. If you ended up taking Dak as the QB 6, the QB 7, then yes, I would agree. You've gone too early. But if you're in a league that's hungry for quarterbacks, and then also likes to take a second quarterback pretty early on, and you've taken Dak as QB 9, QB 10, QB 11, or something like that, then I think that's fair. But if you've gone too early with him, as where the other quarterbacks have gone in your league, then that's where I would say you've mucked up a bit.
So remind me on what's Dak's situation for next season. So he's going to be a free agent, so he gets a bumper deal.
Yes, Dak will be a free agent at the end of the year. They can't franchise tag him. His contract expires, so it's in the Cowboys' interest to do a deal with him sooner rather than later.
So he'll be playing out of his skin this year for his own.
Yeah. Yes. Of course he will. Yeah, he's just gonna want to play. Obviously, he's got a long resume of good performances in the league, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That he can fall back on. So,
just to jump in there, I think Thomas has put on. He went after Stroud and just before Burrow. So I think those three are quite tightly bunched. Pick who you like, who you don't like, or who you like a bit more than the others. Personally, I think I like Burrow out of 3. I think he's got a big season coming from him. But I think with your point you made initially, Anth, was Prescott depends on CD Lamb. I think him and CD Lamb are pretty much nailed on. For me, it depends on what's the rest of the team going to be like with the Cowboys, because the Cowboys for the last couple of seasons have been win 12 games, absolutely dominant at home, putting up massive points at home. Prescott's numbers are outstanding. Can they keep that going, or again is that drop off at running back? I think again some of the defense is gone or not fit. The Cowboys feel like they're trending backwards a little bit. Is that going to hurt them and hurt Dak?
Yeah, Thomas has put there. His thought process was that they may have a bigger year with a lack of rushing. I tend to agree with that. The problem with him is that if anything happens to CD, then the whole team's fucked. Like this team is built around CeeDee Lamb. It just completely falls apart without CeeDee Lamb, and I think Brandon Cooks is absolutely washed. So
who was wide receiver 2 last year for the Cowboys?
Brandon Cooks.
So it just, like I say, on one hand, I've got this vision of the Cowboys. You know, what do they average? About 40 points at home, loads of touchdowns. Dak really efficient. Obviously, they've got pieces in the playoffs, but for your league season, you know, you're getting really efficient numbers, really big numbers. Play fast, play pass heavy. I just look around past CeeDee Lamb at supporting cast and think they're all crap. Zeke Elliott, Dowdle, even Talbot. We're sort of saying they're good pickups late in drafts because they're going to get high up on the depth chart. Not very good for football. We've seen enough.
Like Jalen Talbot's played 3 years in the league. He's been pretty horrendous to this point. Yeah, like
we've seen enough.
He couldn't get on.
These guys are not going to be superstars. They're not going to elevate the Cowboys. They're not going to elevate Dak's numbers. So yes, you can throw to CeeDee Lamb 15 times a game and he'll catch them all. He'll beat men and he'll be a playmaker. But what else have you got? Is the run game going to help you out, or is everyone going to say, do you know what, Zeke can just run into 3 men because he can't go anywhere, and we'll just double treble team CD, and then what else have you got? I just fear that's coming a little bit for Prescott and just going to tail his numbers down. But if you just look at last season, he's a solid pick at QB 7, 8, or 9, isn't he?
Yeah. Talbot couldn't force Michael Gallup off the field last year, and Michael Gallup retired this year. So he couldn't be out a guy that's now no longer in the league. He's had to retire. Yeah, well, that's the issue, isn't it, with Brandon Cooks? He got there in fantasy last year because he scored touchdowns.
Touchdown dependent.
He was good. Yeah, what happens if the touchdowns disappear? Then there's nothing there. It's just empty volume. It's empty volume. Sorry. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Brandon Cooks at all.
No, I don't think anyone on this pod is. But I think with Prescott, talented, good play. It's just the Cowboys situation that concerns me. But if you're just looking at last year and just trying to roll the stats forward, then he's probably you probably picked him in a decent spot.
So is there any sleepers on this Cowboys team that we could potentially keep an eye on or not?
Well, the only one's Talbot because he's going to start. I mean, I quite liked Ryan Flournoy as a sleeper in the draft. He was from a small school, but he was very productive. But he's old. He's 24-year-old already. And I think he's seen a bit as a developmental project. But the depth chart is that shallow. It won't take a great deal of development for him to actually maybe get a look in later on in the year. But he's not someone that you're interested now at all. But it's just it's a name to file away.
Yeah, I think the depth chart's in danger of breaching trading standards and could get sued because it's not very deep.
For me, like I said, these two just need to stay fit, don't they? If one of these two go out, then he's fucked.
Well, if it's CD, I mean, it's not even Jake Ferguson really. Like, the Cowboys have proven a few times now that they can manufacture tight end production just purely because they throw the ball that much. Like Dalton Schultz, not a great tight end, but he was good for the Cowboys because the Cowboys threw so much.
You can't just throw it to CD every throw either, can you? You've got to have a little bit of variation.
Yeah.
Question from I'm going to say that Pete. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to go with Pete. Pete, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We'd much appreciate it. Who would you play in flex out of Pacheco or T. Higgins? Blandy, I'll go with you this time. I think Barry answered first last time, or I did.
Well, I'm always going to go with a wide receiver, Anna. If it's a choice between a wide receiver and a running back, I'll go with that. We saw back end of last year when the Chiefs played the Ravens in the playoff game. Pacheco, what did he have? He had 24 rushes for 68 yards or something. Managed to get in the end zone to kind of save his fantasy day on that thing. But if he doesn't get in, if he doesn't get in the end zone, then it's a pretty disappointing day for him. T. Higgins, I'll just monitor this hamstring injury. I'm presuming that's just load management for him. This seems
nothing more than a minor issue, as he told reporters.
So I think it's amazing. So I would say it's just load management. And then obviously with Chase not really practicing all pre-season, I think at least for the first couple of games of the year, I reckon Higgins is going to be the main wide receiver in that attack to start the season until Chase gets his wheels underneath him.
Even if Chase's contract sorted out, like Higgins is going to get a bit more, isn't he? Even if Chase plays, you think Higgins. And he's some fucking player as well.
I think he's great. He's a great number 2 receiver, isn't he? If Chase can just draw a bit of the attention, it just gives Higgins a little bit of chance to fly under the radar.
He does. And they're playing the Patriots as well. So
I think the fact that Chase has held out for a little bit, or held in, or whatever you want to call it, this season means that I'm sure that Higgins will be taking all the reps with Burrow. I think I'm pretty big on the Bengals having a big run at the Super Bowl this year with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. So I think Higgins is your man. I think he's a little bit undervalued at the moment. If the Bengals do hit the straps this year,
Higgins for me as well. So Pete, we're going. All three of us are going Higgins.
That's dangerous.
So you may be best off going Pacheco, mate. But there you go. Thomas wants a full evaluation of his team now. Now, bear in mind we've given him a hard time about Dak, so let's be nice.
Well, we didn't give our time about Dak. We gave our time about Brandon Cooks. We didn't give our time about that.
12-team PPR, 2 flex. So he's got Dak, we know. Rashad White, Fat Dave, Monty. Reek, who's Reek?
Tyreek.
Oh, is that his nickname, is it?
Yeah.
I'm not down with the kids.
Amongst others.
Drake, Mark Andrews.
Not Kenyon Drake. Not
Drake the rapper.
Drake London.
Not Drake the rapper.
Not him either.
Mark Andrews, Diggs, Lad McConkey, Chase Brown. Chase Brown's also a punt returner now, isn't he? Or a kick returner, one of them. I can't remember which one it is.
Yes, one of them, yeah.
Move on.
Jerry Jeudy, obviously Cooks we know, Benson and Khalil Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of that team?
There's not a lot of players that are on that list that are on my radar. So I think, Tyreek, obviously a great pick. Mark Andrews was bigged up. I think there's a few question marks on people like Rashad White, Stephon Diggs.
Drake London's one of the question mark for you, isn't it, Baz?
I'm not.
I think me and Barry, me and Blandy are a bit more. I'd be happy.
Optimistic on the Falcons outlook.
I get the argument. For me, I just say I'll just let somebody take him and I'll just watch from the sidelines on that one. I think the Rashad White one again. Thomas has come back there. Say he was RB4 last year. He was RB4, and I think we had a conversation before based on volume. He got pretty much every touch he was getting, and the Bucs were, had a good playoff run, so they're doing all right. I think it's his actual efficiency numbers were pretty poor, and I think
horrendous. This year, he was one of the worst rushers in the league.
So as soon as the volume goes, if the efficiency doesn't go up, which there's no reason to suggest it will, he's just going to drop off the cliff, isn't he, on the wide receiver mark. So and again, I think we all like a bit of Bucky Irving as a potential to come in and take a good snap share late in the season. So we're not big on Rashad White.
Yeah, White wouldn't be for me. Cooks wouldn't be for me. But I think all the others are probably where you took them are all perfectly
I fancy a bit of Chase Brown this year as well, to be honest.
The Bengals running back room's always productive. Joe Burrow always throws to his running backs at a high rate. That's why Mixon was productive, for putting up fantasy points for the Bengals when he was there. Where Chase Brown and Moss are both going, I'm happy to take either of them at that particular point, just because I want some exposure to that backfield. Preferably Brown. I think he's more explosive than what Zach Moss is, but Zach Moss is probably not the worst. Second price, so to speak.
If you knew which one was going to get the heavier workload, it would push them up your draft board, wouldn't it? But I think they're not knowing exactly how it's going to play out is tempering both down.
Yeah, I think Moss is likely to get the first crack at the 1A role in the committee, but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't surprise me if by week 4, week 5 that Chase Brown was the 1A. He's broke a few big runs. So yeah, I just want exposure to both of them basically.
Yeah. While we're talking about running backs, I like Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, I do. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked at all if we have a Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard situation again, where new coaching staff, or it's certainly got a new play caller for the Bears this year, where they pay a running back to come in who has been pretty inefficient, not very good at his previous stops, coincidentally both with the Eagles, and they give him a shitload of money and then quickly find out actually the best rusher that we've got on the team was the guy we already had, which is what happened with Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard last year. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if we ended up in that situation again between Herbert and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. Does Roschon Johnson muddy the waters a little bit there? Has he got a little bit of wiggle room to get involved?
On passing downs, yeah, I think Roschon's more of a passing down protector specialist. So I think he has the potential to squeeze Swift from that side of things, and Herbert has the potential to squeeze Swift from the rushing side of things, because Herbert is definitely a better rusher than DeAndre Swift. I know that for a fact.
One thing I noticed in the best ball drafts, so Roschon Johnson just seemed to start steadily declining in terms of ADP and ranking.
He played the first preseason game, was injured, and then didn't play again, and has been injured for pretty much the whole of camp almost, which is why he fell.
Yeah, not ideal, is it? We kind of break into a starting lineup.
And then just to finish off on Jerry Jeudy.
Mm-hmm.
Another player I've been burnt with. And obviously an ex-Bronco, Barry.
Yeah.
Will we see a bit of a turnaround this year?
He's a tricky one to work out because he's a very high draft pick. Again, very, very good college background. Just didn't do it at the Broncos. Lots of excuses, bad quarterback play, probably terrible coaching, combination of things. He's got the Browns and he's getting, a good whack of money. I think there's every chance there's a ceiling there, but how likely is it to happen? I think the jury's out on him. Jerry Jury. I'm doing on jokes if you want. So yeah, I've been taking him because I think he's a good bit of value, and I think he could bust through a ceiling, but there's a lot of risk with him.
Yeah. I think where he goes in drafts is very late, so you can take him, have a look,
roll the dice.
First couple of weeks, and if it's the same old Jerry Jeudy, then you can probably just let him go when the hot wave of pickup comes along. there is it. Like he's probably going to play in the slot full time for the Browns, which I do think will be good for him. They'll put Elijah Moore on the outside, put Judy in the slot. Like Baz said, they traded for him and then they signed him to a contract extension. So the Browns obviously, have belief in him. That they have a plan for him. So he's going to get every opportunity to fail. So
I guess it depends on this man stepping up his game this year as well.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It can't get much worse, can he? From last year.
No, he kind of hit rock bottom, didn't he?
I mean, there was a strange team last year, the Browns, weren't they? The defense was absolutely lethal. They had about 10 different quarterbacks, and rolling out Flacco, made the playoffs. If they can get some good quarterback play, they've got every chance of being a really good team.
Yeah, like if Deshaun Watson gets close to what he was when he was in Houston, then they've got a really good shot of going really deep into the playoffs. Because the roster is absolutely jam-packed.
I was going to say something nasty about Deshaun Watson, but I'm going to refrain just in case I get my doors kicked down and I get arrested for inciting hate.
Why don't you save him for 2 or 3 weeks where he's had a few bad weeks, then you could say it's just based on actual facts.
I just stopped knowing. It looks at last season's pod when I was just slagging Arthur Smith off every episode. So
you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one. Don't worry about it.
I hope we don't bump into him in Lidl.
Right, we've got to make some changes to our team. So keep the questions coming if you want, but we've got to look at our team now. So for everyone who wasn't here last week, we did our the fantasy front office draft, which we do every year, redraft, and some of our biggest fans and friends take part. But we've got to make a change.
We have to find a way of having 3 of us to make one pick when we don't always agree on everything. So correct. Some democracy and some compromise is required. But what we did do, leading into our sort of segment here, is we got a bit clever and said, let's not take a kicker or defense. Let's pick up loads of late round. We've got a shallow bench. Let's throw a few darts some late round guys we think of value. But now we have to sort of backtrack and find a kicker or defense.
I just noticed there, right, when we were saying about Dak Prescott, we actually picked him up last week.
But it's always a case of where, though, isn't it? We're not saying Dak's
Thomas. We picked him up, mate. So don't you worry. You're in good company. We haven't.
It's not that we're down. It's not that we're down on Dak.
We haven't got.
It's just.
Right. So we need to drop someone and pick a defense up without someone trying to. We've got Tolbert on the bottom look as well. We picked him last.
We do, yeah.
We're fucking just lying.
We're
just winging it, basically.
He's getting a chop, isn't he, Tolbert?
Yeah, should we chop him now?
Or are we chopping? Do we take DeMarcus Robinson, Blandy? I think we took him as a bit of a punt because we thought if Puka ends up being injured.
Yeah. So the easiest one to chop is Luke McCaffrey.
No. I don't agree.
Oh, no? Here we go. Fight.
No. I like Luke McCaffrey.
Let's
chop competition. He's got.
Let's chop Terry Robinson because he was our last pick. It was a little bit of cover to say if Puka's knee does blow up, he moves up the depth chart to wide receiver 2 and has some value. Puka's back fit. Let's get shot of him.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, he's gone.
See you later, DeMarcus. We might have you back later, but you're gone for now.
Right, and then on to the defense. So we were talking earlier. Mm-hmm. We said between Bengals, Bears, or the Steelers.
I put forward the Steelers because I think Maverick had them and dropped them, and I've seen them come available. I had a look. I think they've got a very light schedule for about 6 weeks, so I thought they were a reasonable pickup. However, I think we've been in a democracy of the fantasy front office. You guys like a couple of other defenses better for more legitimate reasons, and I just think they're always a feisty team. So we've agreed to go elsewhere, but I'll just make sure on record that I've got the Steelers. So if they do, fly, then I'm covered. Who you were between the Bengals and the Bears, I think.
Yeah, the Bears mainly because of Hard Knocks for me.
Yeah.
I mean, they are they're like it's similar. It's a similar point to Barry with the Steelers. They are actually a good real life defense.
Yeah,
and they do play. I mean, they play the Titans. They play the Titans this week, who they're
erratic, unpredictable.
Well, they have at the minute one of the worst offensive lines in the league. And obviously, the Peter Skoronski, who they drafted last year, very good, and then they drafted Joel in the draft this year, who they're hoping to make an improvement to that. The side the Broncos center. So I think the Titans, when all said and done, will probably move a little bit towards league average as an O-line this year. I don't know whether it'll be straight away to start the season. So yeah, the Bears are definitely in play. But the one for me is the Bengals playing against the Patriots. Patriots are projected for the lowest amount of points this week. Got Jacoby Brissett, who I don't think's great, and they have the worst offensive line in the league. So that's my case for going for the Bengals.
Yeah, it's a very valid one. I think.
Yeah, Thomas saying Bears are going to get a ton of takeaways this year once they get Sweat. Turnover skyrocketed, not a coincidence.
Yeah,
Kev Work, absolute peak trolling. Pete Trollins just picked up the Bengals.
Fucking bastards.
Oh, he's listened to the show, and because you did say you were going to do this before the show to stop these sort of characters.
Top trolling Kev Work.
So for anyone who doesn't know what's happened there, so we were going to pick the Bengals, and someone from the league is watching and has actually picked the Bengals before we could.
So really, Ant's dilly-dallying, taking too much time to actually press the button, and we've been ousted. But it might be a good thing.
Well,
let's set the Bears then.
Let's go to the Bears. Let's go to the Bears.
Do it quick before someone else takes them.
Right, I think
there. Click plus. Go down.
Your roster is full. I've already selected a player to drop. Yeah, they're on. Don't panic.
But yeah, the point about Montez Sweat's not a bad one from Thomas. He's a good player in Blandy. He'll get you plenty of sacks, won't he, over the course of the season?
Yeah, he will. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, he will. Yes, peak trolling, Kev.
I think it just shows that he's a big fan of the podcast and he listens. He hangs on your every word, Blandy. And if you say something, he does it. So I think you should take it as a compliment.
Kev Wake, is the pod on tonight on our WhatsApp group?
It's all right. He'll still be moaning to say, "What time we drafted tomorrow? Is there any games on before we draft?"
Yeah. So kicker, when we're going to pick our kicker during the weekend?
Yeah, we'll do kicker weekend. We'll decide which other one we want to drop, and then we'll pick a kicker up.
I'm guessing it's out of Talbot and McCaffrey, though, is it?
I like that McCaffrey lad.
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying that they're all candidates, aren't they?
Yeah.
Talbot.
I have no problem. If you want to drop Talbot, I have no problem.
Talbot, the one I want to drop. I want to keep that McCaffrey.
If you want to keep hold of McCaffrey for the unknown.
Yeah.
Because I think we know Talbot.
Yeah, we know Talbot's shit.
Not a good player. He's just
average.
He's got an opportunity to earn some volume because of the lack of other good players around him.
Look at that. There's not much standing out there in terms of competition, is there?
No, there's not. I've got a good
feeling about it.
Yeah.
Noah Brown did all right last year. Bells, didn't he, for Texans?
He had 2 good games. He had 5 years with Dak where he couldn't get over 100 yards. Had 2 games with CJ Stroud, went over 100 yards twice. I mean, it's got nothing to do with Noah Brown. I know that much.
Yeah.
I think it has everything to do with CJ. I'm not saying it's Dak's bad either. I'm just saying that's how good CJ Stroud is.
We were going to touch on some of the best pickups, but I think we're going to skip that after what just happened. Welcome. We'll go on to the new segment of the show, which is DFS.
What does it stand for, Ran?
Daily Fantasy Sports. So for anyone who wasn't watching a few weeks ago, we did our first best ball live on the podcast. Since then, I've done 74 best ball drafts. And now I've got an addiction to gambling on NFL. So that's good.
What could go wrong?
So to satisfy my new addiction, there's this DFS which we can play every day, as the name suggests. So Blandy, for the people who haven't played DFS before, including myself, I might have played 1 or 2 last year, but it was just like firing players in. Really, I wasn't thinking anything of it. I think you're pretty much the same as me, Baz. We don't really.
No, again, I think
much sport, I guess.
The little chat we had off there, I say maybe just firing players without a strategy in the past. The little chat we had off there, I think last night. It depends on the type of tournament play. Those massive tournaments with thousands of players where you have to get an absolute perfect lineup, you have to pick the wide receiver 3 who gets 62 yards and a touchdown out of nowhere to win. Not really for me. The smaller ones where you maybe just have to beat, if there's 20 players, you have to finish top 10 to double money. They're the ones I sort of play because you can have a bit more of an easier, more standard lineup rather than looking for absolute obscure, no marks.
So, Blandy, I'm going on NFL. I'm going classic.
Yeah.
And then this is our options for daily fantasy sports. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks about right.
So if I just click this single entry one, draft team. Right. So the premise of it is, correct me if I'm wrong. Go on.
What? How many's in the tournament? Go back. Because that makes a massive difference to what kind of lineup you're going to build as well.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Right,
so I'm going classic.
Almost like I just said that, Blandy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's one there, 4,756.
That's 3 max. You want the single entry one, didn't you? There you go. Below that one.
What about that one?
Yeah. Yeah, that's grand.
There's only 1,470 teams in that, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to get wild with your picks.
Right. So first tip is go for a smaller tournament, I guess.
That's the ones that I prefer to play in, where you're not looking for that. You're not looking for that 1% owned player who, like Barry says, is going to go, 75 yards and a touchdown, and it's going to be the outlier that you need. You can go a bit more chalk, but you still need to mix it up a little bit. You can't just play all the popular players on the week because you're still not going to be successful. You still do have to mix it up a little bit.
Right. Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong again. So each player has a salary.
He does.
For the weekend, for their respective game. I've got $50,000 to spend on my salary.
Correct.
So I need a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, a flex, and a defense.
Yeah.
Within that $50,000.
Yeah. you can leave dollars on the table as well.
Okay. So, what is your first port of call when you're deciding on what team you're going to pick?
I'll try and look at NFL games that I'm interested in targeting. So maybe games with a high over-under or a particular team that's projected for, a decent amount of points on a weekly basis and kind of start there. Then you get into ownership projections of what the predicted ownership is of X player. For instance, the larger tournaments, not like this one, if you have a player who's 25-30% owned and he has a big week, then that's all well and good. But he's still on 25%, 30% of the other teams, so he hasn't really made a huge difference for you because you've still got maybe 250,000 teams to beat out at that point. There was an instance last year where AJ Brown went for 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he wasn't in the winning team. Because he was so highly owned that the teams that had him, they didn't separate from other teams. So, rostership and ownership of players is quite important as well.
Right. So I'm going to make a selection here. So do you start for quarterback?
Not necessarily. If you wanted to here, go
what's
for it.
What's this OPRK stand for?
I don't know the exact
Green's good.
Wordings that it stands for, but basically it's like points given up. Points given up to opposition. Yeah, basically. Yeah, green is good, red is bad. Yeah. I'm
just trying to think how much I can remortgage Joe's for from this new addiction. Do you think is this something you'd get dabble in, Baz?
I'd have a few dollars in it for a bit of interest if there's a few was doing it. I much prefer other forms of betting. So I much prefer doing our managed fantasy leagues or draft leagues. But if I was going to, I don't know, I'd like to maybe pick a few players that are fancy for over or under the yards or the receptions.
Anytime touchdown and stuff like that.
Not necessarily touchdown. I think I'm just trying to get a little bit more into the sort of just into the props in the line. So receiving yards, rushing yards. I think trying to pick some faults in the line and just get over there where I think we know a bit more about the matchups and a bit more about the share than maybe history is telling us that they're the sort of things I'm at now.
Yeah. So you sent a list over, Blandy, and Joe Burrow was your first one.
Yeah, I think he's because I want to stack him with Andrei Iosivas this week.
Yeah.
I'd just go to the search bar if I were you, Anth.
Yeah. Go to the search bar and work out
iOS. There you go. No, I don't know how popular Iosivas is going to be this week. I would imagine 3,000 starting slot receiver for the Bengals against the Patriots defense. Bengals at home projected to score quite a few points. He could very well be 25-35% owned at that point, and then I might look somewhere else. But for this, we don't have ownership projections at the minute. So for this purpose, yes, he was one that I sent over. Yeah.
Thomas, he's thanking the Romans for the Hadrian's Wall. He's going to be in Edinburgh in 2 weeks to tie the knot.
Congratulations!
Well, I'm not sure I'm busy in 2 weeks, mate. If me and Baz might venture up,
Yeah. But should I wedding
Showtime.
Is it a free bar?
Showtime runs in Musselburgh in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Ideal, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so
we've got the horse race. Got the horse race, and then we're stopping.
We've got a racehorse called Showtime Mahomes. And he's running at Musselburgh, which is near Edinburgh. So we're up that neck of the woods. So if there's an invite going, mate, we
like wedding cake and a free bar, don't we?
Definitely, yeah. So Devin Singletary was on there as well, which I was a bit.
I think I don't mind Singletary this week at his price point because I think, especially week 1, I think he's going to be a lock for about 80% of the touches for the Giants against the Vikings. Giants are at home. The underdogs. I don't think they should be. I think they should be favourites to win that game against Sam Darnold. But they're only 1 point underdogs, so it's projected to be a close game. And at his price point, I think he's good for allowing you to do other things at other positions on your roster, allowing you to pay up elsewhere. The same as Yoshi Vash at 3,000. Having someone in your lineup at the minimum price opens up what you can do. Else you can spend up elsewhere for better players.
As always, I'll interrupt for a question.
Mm-hmm.
A question from All in One Show. All in One Show. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We'd much appreciated. Thank you. Hi guys, kind of stuck on my flex. Should I play Higgins over Flowers? My wide receiver 1 and 2 is Chase and Waddle.
Nice set of receivers he's got there.
Indeed.
Yeah. Very good.
I think just looking at the matchup for me, we've spent a bit of time earlier in the show, didn't we? Bigging up Higgins, bigging up the situation, bigging up the matchup against the Patriots. I think it's a better matchup than going to Arrowhead and facing the Chiefs, who were pretty good on defense and got after Lamar last season in a couple of games. So I think I'd be looking at Higgins based on the matchup, and then probably across those 4 guys, if they're all fit, probably flex on who's got the better matchups.
What's your thoughts on Flowers tonight against Chiefs?
Flowers, I think he's a good player. I think he had a pretty big fumble, didn't he, late on in one of the playoff games that pretty much cost him. I think he'll bounce back from that. I think he was getting his groove on towards the end of last season. So I think Flowers is going to have a good season. I just maybe think week 1 away at the Chiefs. I'm not sure that's the best spot to play in the course of the season. It's just shot a bit of Higgins in because I think it's going to be his week this week.
Yeah. The problem you got is you've got Flowers. You'd have to play him tonight, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The timings of the game is just. I think if you make a decision, you just roll with it, don't you? I don't think you're going to get any injuries between now and then. It's going to cost you. You've got to pick your poison and go with it.
So would you chance the Chase? I mean, he's training again, isn't he? But you've still got that chance that he might not play, and if he does play, he might be limited. But is that overthinking it?
I think it's overthinking it. I think just firing both in there. There's plenty of yards to be had against the Patriots on Sunday.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
So we're going to go Chase, Waddle, and Higgins, and leave Flowers on the bench.
Come back next week, all in one, and let us know how you get on. We always like a bit of see how many fantasy teams we can kill over the course of a week, don't we?
Yeah, we'll show we're working. We might not be right, but we'll show we're working.
We often said last year we'll take a commission and we'll take check for any good advice, and the bank account's in zero, so we obviously didn't get much right.
No, but we've banged on about Higgins all show, so we can't not play him.
Yeah, we can't move away from him now. We're tied in, aren't we?
Yeah, he's gonna have a big week, isn't he?
Yeah.
Keep it. Oh, I also have Drake London.
Where's he pulling these receivers from? How many picks did he get in the first 2 rounds?
I mean, I like Drake London as well.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I'd probably go Drake London over T. Higgins. I think. Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, going against the Falcons, going against Arthur Smith in week 1. I think they want to. Given how he used their skill position players, I think they want to go out and just put up as many points as they can against him. Yeah.
Well,
at home in the dome. Yeah, that will be.
I would forget about Flowers. I'd go into the weekend, keep an eye on what's happening with Chase. If he's going to play or not, and if he's going to play, is there any inkling he's going to get limited? Then make a decision between T. Higgins and Chase, and play Drake London and Waddle.
I'll go for the original one: Chase, Waddle, and Higgins. And just
so you've got no qualms. You've got no qualms of playing Chase and Higgins in the same team.
No. I think against the Patriots, like I say, I'm in on the Bengals. I like the matchup, so I think I'll go for that. And maybe just again, as I said at the start, I'm not massive on Drake. I think I've just got to let him go and do it. That would be my preference. But I can see the argument for doing it. If you've drafted him in the second round, you're firing him in, aren't you? Or third round, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But long story short, forget about Flowers for tonight. Not that we're saying he's bad.
No, it's just he'll have better opportunities throughout the next 16 weeks, won't he?
Yeah.
But thanks for the question, mate. Keep coming. What was I presenting before? Oh, yes, I was presenting my new addiction, which is this. And I need Hunter Henry in as tight end.
Yeah, with the Patriots having the worst O-line, I think Brissett and not only do they have the worst O-line, they probably have the worst supporting cast at wide receiver in the league. Brissett's going to be looking to get rid of the ball pretty quickly to a reliable target. And the Bengals last year were the third worst team against tight ends in the league. So I'm not sure whether Henry's going to get you a touchdown, but I could see him racking up 5 or 6 receptions for maybe 30 or 40 yards. He'll pay off at his price point.
And then I was surprised at. Go on, Barry. What are you going to say?
I was going to say he's just quite safe, isn't he, Brissett? He's not going to put the ball in harm's way, which again, big tight end in the middle of the field is quite a safe pass, isn't it? It's his style of play.
And you had the Panthers for the defense. So this is one of the second cheapest defense, I think it was.
Yeah.
So what you're thinking here is it just, do you always find a cheap defense against a poor team, you think, or?
Pretty much, yeah. Like the Panthers last year were 13th in pass rush win rate on the defense. Now they did lose Brian Burns, traded him away to the Giants, so that's not ideal. But the Saints were the 31st team in pass rush blocking rate last year, and they might actually be worse than that this year. There's a very good chance that the Saints have, between them and the Patriots, have the worst O-line in the league this year. So there's a good opportunity for a couple of sacks for the Panthers, I think, despite them losing Brian Burns. And like you said, they're the second cheapest defense on the slate. So I generally just pay down at defense, find the cheapest one that you can possibly make a case for, and it allows you to save salary and pay up somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that the times I've played, you're looking at the bottom 5, price defenses and think which is the spikiest defense out of these, who can get a sack or a turnover.
Just one I can make
based on matchup and then go with it and save any money to spend elsewhere. I think just quickly touching on the game. Do you think that's going to be a low scoring game, Panthers Saints and Blandy?
Yeah, let's see if I can pull it up here. What the 2 seconds. Panthers Saints is projected for 41.5 points. Yeah.
Under for me on there.
Yeah.
So Barry, we've got 28 grand to burn through here. Running back, I quite fancy Mixon. 6,600. What's your thoughts on that? He's green, 28th on this OPRK, whatever the hell that means.
That's going off last season's numbers as well, though, and it's really been a great deal. There's so much turnover on rosters.
Mixon's going to be the main boy, isn't he? Like the bell cow, isn't he?
He will be, yeah. But like,
what's the Colts?
You extend Nico Collins. You got Tank Dell healthy. You trade for Stephon Diggs. CJ Stroud's coming into his second year. I don't think you run your offense through Joe Mixon.
Wow,
but
I think he might get a touchdown.
Well, he might get a touchdown, yeah. But
I think a player I like on that list there, a little bit more expensive, was Ken Walker. I think, again, fit and healthy, coming off preseason, playing the Broncos. Been plenty of chat out of the Seahawks camp that they're not looking at Charbonnet and Walker as a 1-2. They're looking to feed Walker a lot. So I think he's got a good chance of a big week.
What are Denver like against the run?
Rubbish against everything at the moment.
Let's see.
Whatever the metric is, they'll be ranked in the 30s.
This team's getting entered, by the way, so I don't care about all that percentage.
That's my little input there. I don't think he's right at the top of the prices or the
No, 6,100.
I think he could start shooting up if he has some good early season form. So I think he could be a get on early guy.
The Broncos finished last year, last 6 weeks of the season, 23rd in success rate against the run, so not great, but 7th in EPA allowed per run, which is pretty good. So basically what that's saying is they allowed a lot of short gains, but didn't allow any big plays, basically. Yeah, pretty much is what that is. Which is again, which is a complete opposite to what Ken Walker is, because Ken Walker is absolutely atrocious at getting the 3 yards that are blocked for him, but he'll get you 75 yards where he's not supposed to go.
I think in those numbers, you've got to look at who they faced, haven't you, in terms of that explosiveness and that APA. But I think Walker's the guy. If he gets the edge, he's gonna rack up some big runs.
Right, we'll go Walker.
Yeah.
Wide receiver.
But the home favourites, the Seahawks as well. So I mean, it's a sensible play.
Right, lads, we've got two players. We've got 2 players to pick: wide receiver and flex. We've got 7,750 average between the two. We can splurge here. We can splurge.
7,752.
So each. So the remaining salary we've got 15,500. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We can splurge.
Yes, you can.
Well,
yeah.
The obvious one to me. You've put why have we got Chris Olave in the lineup?
Oh shit!
I was going to say.
There we go. Here you go. You got a bit more money.
It's not decreasing your potential, because you've still got 7K plus per pair.
Yeah. The obvious one for me here then would be to play Justin Jefferson. So you've got Singletary, so I think it's going to be a back and forth game. then Jefferson's the obvious bring back on Singletary.
Is that why you picked Burrow, Iosivas, and Hunter Henry as well because they're in the same game?
Yes.
Right. So not only are you stacking players, you're stacking the games.
Stacking matchups.
You can do. You can stack games as well, yeah. Because if you identify the right game that goes off, then those players that you have put in your lineup are likely to get dragged up by that game script. You just have to. It's just basically you have to get less things right. Basically, if you picked a player from each game, you've got to identify the right games, and then you've also got to identify the right player within that game. So you've got to get a lot of things right. Doing it this way.
As always, I'll interrupt when I got a question. A question from Timestamp. Chase, Drake London, or Neighbours? I have JJ locked in at wide receiver 1. So Chase, Drake London, or Neighbours?
If Jamar Chase suits up, you play Jamar Chase.
Yes.
Agreed. What about if you had to pick just between London and Neighbours, Blandy? Where you're looking there?
Really want to say Neighbours, but I think the safe play is Drake London.
Yeah, rookie week 1's a little bit of an ask game.
Yeah, I mean, staying on that point though, with the salary you have here, Ant, you could play Jefferson, and you could also play Neighbours, because Neighbours is only 5,900.
Right.
And then that leaves you 7,800.
So we're banking it all on that game going divvy.
Or just having plenty.
What can possibly go wrong when you're putting all your chips on Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones? But in DFS you only win by getting different. You know, you don't win by playing the popular players.
Thanks for the question, Timestamp. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We much appreciate it.
And let us know how you get on. Plenty of turnovers isn't a bad thing for fantasy either, is it, Blandy? You know, turning the ball over in your own half, which them two are most capable of, aren't they?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So this leaves basically almost the whole player pool, or quite,
available.
Yeah, available. So, I mean, if you want, you could stick Chase in there as well, and have a double stack Chase, Yoshivash, with Burrow.
But if I enter it now when he doesn't play, I'll cry.
Well, no.
You can change it, can you?
You can change it right up to lock, right up until 2 minutes before kickoff. You can change.
Oh, can you?
You can,
yeah.
You can go in and then if you've got drop a player and pick another player up, yeah.
But then once you set your lineup, if you have someone in the late game and they're out, then you can take them out and put change somebody different, and that's playing in the late game as well.
Right.
So your lineup doesn't lock until 5 minutes before kickoff.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not concerned about Chase being out of practice.
Well, you can stick him in. You can stick him in now. Mind you, if you're going to forget about it, then.
Would you be tempted to upgrade your tight end deal, Blandy, if you've got plenty of cash in the bank? Maybe look for a lower price flex and a better tight end.
Well,
can you play tight? Can you play tight in the flex? Would you consider?
You can play tight in You can play tight in the flex. What you could do, rather than play Chase, you could play Higgins. Still get the Bengals stack.
Yes, I like Higgins.
Play it through Higgins, and that'll save you some salary that you could then, if you wanted to, upgrade Henry.
Yeah, I like that.
So then what does that leave you at tight end?
Basically, Kincaid, Njoku, Ingram,
Kittle,
Mark Andrews tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it gets you off the game stack, taking Henry out.
Right, yeah.
But it's still, you've still got the double Bengals stack in
there. What about Denver Seahawks? What about
them? Don't think there's anything I want to play on the Denver side, and I don't have enough confidence in Noah Fant week 1. I think it's my highest rostered tight end in best ball, but that's a very different game, isn't it?
How about we put Hunter Henry back in, and we look at that running back there. So we'll keep Singletary in for the Vikings Giants.
Yeah.
We've basically got every running back available, yeah, except from CMC.
Where do you want to go? Bijan? Playing the Arthur Smith narrative.
There we go. $100 left.
There you go.
That's fine. Take it over here. Stick it in the bag.
Right, Inter. Congratulations, you're
in.
15 grand. Cushy, I'll do, mate. I'll do me, lads. I'll buy you. If I win, I'll buy you a couple of a background each.
What's wrong with the background? Like, it's perfectly done.
I thought all the money goes in the pot. The Fantasy Fantasy end of season do pot, doesn't it?
End of season do. Right, quickly touch on the Thursday night football before we go. Randy's staying up for it. Me and Barry watching it in the morning.
Well, I'm not. I'm going to bed and waking up for it. But
well, yeah, you're gonna have a nap.
So we'll rattle through this so I can go to sleep.
Yeah, I've got to sleep. I've got class at 6 o'clock in the morning. Everyone plays. Xavier Worthy was the only question mark I had when I was thinking about it before we came on.
Okay.
Would you play Xavier Worthy?
I think it depends on how. I was just going to say, it depends on how you structured your team. Have you drafted him to sort of see how he feels his way into the league and gets to 4 or 5 weeks, or you're firing your guns early because you haven't got too many options at receiver? I would probably hope you've got the former, and you can be a bit patient with Worthy and see what he does for a couple of weeks, and then start using him a bit more.
I think if you've drafted him, you might just want to play him.
I was going to say, if you're very impatient and you're addictive personality, you might be sat there, in front of the TV, scratching the armchair, thinking, "Get him on, get it to Worthy. Where's he running?"
But last season, if you played Sky Moore, you had absolute nightmare, didn't you?
Yeah, Xavier Worthy's a completely different prospect to Sky Moore.
I know, but it's just that rookie thing. You played Sky Moore last year thinking that.
Well, Sky Moore wasn't a rookie last year.
What am I thinking of then? Am I thinking of his rookie year?
Quite possibly. But they're totally, completely different prospect profiles. I'm just looking. I could have swore I drafted him somewhere.
I'm thinking of last year, but it's not rookie, is he?
No.
I'm thinking of last year, though.
It was Worthy. You're looking at that. He's going to be a bit of a deep threat. Couple of players, maybe peel off something massive, isn't he? Bit of boom or bust in him early, Blandy. Particularly, might be like all this season, but certainly early. I don't think he's going to get a volume of targets, is he?
I think he'll get a few jet sweeps on a regular basis.
Yeah, just
Yeah, Andy Reid with a wide receiver, with the fastest wide receiver ever in the. Yeah, I think Andy Reid's going to be getting the ball in his hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about me? What about my man Carson Steele? I know you two guys poo-pooed him all. The best balls did last night. Who's Carson Steele? Why is Barry picking up Carson Steele in the 27th round?
Look at that hair. Look at that hair, Rod.
He's a lovely looking fella. That's got a good start. He's got CEH out. Imagine Perine's just signed, so maybe not going to be utilised. He might just get a bit of short yardage work and peel something off and drop in the end zone. I'm liking it. I think he's a lively outsider.
Yeah, I think Perine will have a pretty decent role actually.
Straight completely.
Yeah, he's completely different player to Carson Steele though. Perine's going to be long down and distance, third downs. He's absolute killer for Pacheco's ceiling. Anyone who's drafted Pacheco, Perine kind of kills his ceiling. He's going to play the Jerick McKinnon role basically.
What I read about Steele was obviously he was a bit of an outsider to make the roster, so I've seen enough of him to put him in the roster, give him a roster spot. That they must be seeing something. He was originally listed as a fullback, and he's saying we might use him as fullback, but we see him as a running back. So again, he's going to be a bit of that bruiser type of player, which is again a little bit different to some of the other guys on the Chiefs roster. So he had to beat out a Welsh rugby player to get on the roster. So he managed to do that.
Be interesting when we draft tomorrow with all these scores on the board.
Points on the board. Yeah. It will. Unless it could be a low scoring game.
It was last year, wasn't it?
I think it was in the playoff. Was it two good defenses can cancel each other out a little bit, can't they?
Yeah.
I think it was low scoring last year. It was pretty boring, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the Ravens refused to run, didn't they? The Chiefs said run as the Ravens refused to. I think Gus Edwards had 6 carries for... No. Between Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, they had 6 carries for 23 yards.
Wow. It'll be interesting again, just as we talked about Henry at the start, let's finish towards the end with him. The under centre shotgun formational thing, because I think he plays very well under centre, doesn't he, Henry? Whereas Lamar doesn't play under centre. So how they're going to just make that work, it'll be interesting to just see that week 1 and see how that's going to set us up for the season.
It does. Also, the Ravens lost 3 starters on their O-line as well. So we're always used to having the Ravens having a dominant O-line. Not sure that's going to be the case this year. So that's another caveat, and especially tonight's game. If the Chiefs go up by 14 points pretty early tonight, then Henry's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, it's good night.
It's going to be
Derek, isn't it?
Yeah. So he needs game script on his side. I mean, it's nothing new. It's been Derrick Henry's whole career. He's always had to have game script on his side, hasn't he? So the Ravens, I do have concerns with it because the Ravens have lost, like I said, 3 stars on the O-line. Also, they had the 6th best defense of the last 25 years last year, did the Ravens. So their defense is obviously, it's going to get worse than it was last year. Still be a good defense, obviously, but it's just not going to be as dominant as they were last year. So they're going to be in more disadvantageous rushing situations, so to speak. So
it's a cracker of a game, though. It's 2 good teams. It's a good way to start the season, and we're all itching just to see some NFL football, aren't we, Anth?
Exactly.
Yeah, mate. It's like Christmas Eve. And on that note, thanks everyone for
shut it down.
We're going to get off because it's 11 p.m.
Bon night.
See you there, lads. I'll see you tomorrow for the big draft.
The big one.
That you will.
Let's play it out. Bye.
out there.